Hello and welcome to the Join Dota League Season 3 here on HeflaTV 2. This is going to be a best of 2 series from the Asia Division 1 between Invasion Esports and First Departure. As for your casters, I'm Grandis V, and, well, I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris.
Yeah, it's nice to be, or kind of nice to be up nice and early and going to be casting some Southeast Asian Dota, which is always a nice change of pace. They run different things, but of course those different things don't happen until the 4th or 5th pick usually, as we're going to open up our draft once again with the Faceless Void. I'm just looking very quickly over these two teams, and First Departure seems to have a little bit of an edge over Invasion just in their past running into each other, so, you know, good luck to Invasion because they're a little bit at disadvantage right off the bat.
Yeah, especially since they are running with the stand-in. I'm not sure if that's a proper stand-in or if that's somebody that's considering joining Invasion. I just haven't seen them play enough to actually know. But yeah, we're going to see pretty standard stuff coming out from both teams. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the supports coming out from Invasion as their next pickup. Skywrath Mage as well as Shadow Shaman are both in the pool. Whichever one they don't want First Departure to get, I would assume, is going to be the pick here. But first pick Doom for Invasion, first pick Faceless Void for First Departure. Nothing we haven't seen before.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with picking up those double silences. Get the Doom as well as the Skywrath Mage silence, but it looks like instead it's going to be a Rubik. A rather early Rubik pickup. It is a nice hero against Faceless Void, and if you steal the Chronosphere, you can shut down lots of the Faceless Void's teammates, but never really good against Faceless Void. He doesn't get the max movement speed in the Chronosphere, or the enemy Chronosphere, which is really weird, but hell, just having the Rubik in general for that nice stun is always something that you can't really go wrong with. As First Departure, pick up a Venomancer rather early. Usually a hero that's led through all the way to the last stages, so they could have picked it up much later, but instead deciding to get this hero up really early and maybe preparing for a little bit of aggressive play.
Yeah, very aggressive early push is what I expect from First Departure with this pick. Honestly, I'm not sure if I like this opening coming out from them. Mostly due to the fact that the Faceless Void's what they started out with. Is the Faceless Void doesn't really offer much to that early push. The Chronosphere is nice in teamfights, but then again, it doesn't combo that well. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Jakiro pickup by First Departure, or just go for something more standard as your other supports. Potentially that Shadow Shaman, as mentioned earlier. But I really think Jakiro would work well with them. It synergizes well with the early push from the Venomancer, as well as with the Chronosphere of the Faceless Void.
Yeah, I think Jakiro is probably the premier support to pick up if you're First Departure. Just having more and more push. If it is going to be a core Venomancer, which is more common nowadays than it's pretty much ever been, then you'll have those levels of Plague Wards, and, well, it looks like it's not going to be Jakiro because it will be banned out by Invasion. Whereas First Departure is going to get rid of a couple of those off-lane heroes, expecting a core Doom or a Doom with Protected Farm, and then Nature's Prophet as well as Clockwork going to be banned out. So with those bans and with the picks that First Departure have already had, yes, it's pretty clear that they're going to be going for pushing. Warlock is going to have that nice Golem in order to whack the towers. So far, no one from Invasion a great Diffusal builder, but they certainly can build it up. Warlock is mostly just for the early game presence, so that you could push with the heals as well as just a lot of threat of your ultimate.
Yeah, as nice as a Diffusal Blade is up against a Warlock, you're still forcing the enemy team to invest a lot of gold into an item that may or not be substantial. As a Warlock that gets the Aghanims and then eventually into the Refresher, one Diffusal Blade isn't going to cut it. You really need to invest a lot in order to actually shut down that ultimate. But still, I really like this Warlock pickup. Still, it doesn't synergize very well with the Faceless Void, although if you do get a really nice Chronosphere with the Fatal Bonds on somebody, the Faceless Void can pretty much just take out an entire enemy team if that lines up properly. But yeah, still a lot of early push coming out from First Departure, and I expect them to just invest very heavily into it. As Invasion Esports, they pick themselves up a Visage. It's okay, but Witch Doctor, the pickup for First Departure, I think that's really solid. I kind of am hoping that this is a support Venomancer as well as Witch Doctor, or they pick up another support altogether and run the Faceless Void, Venomancer, and Warlock as their 3 cores. But yeah, Witch Doctor are going to be the first ultimate that actually synergizes well with that Chronosphere, offering a lot of additional physical damage into the Chronosphere ultimate. And I don't know, I really like this draft coming out from First Departure. I think it's pretty scary to play up against, because really, Invasion don't have the greatest counter push. They have Fade Bolt, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice tool, but Invasion, their counter push is mostly going to be in them trying to start fights. Right now, they really want to pick up someone with a lot of initiation. Against Warlock, more so than any other hero, you want to have a hero that's able to jump to the back and kill off something like the Warlock. With Clockwork and Nature's Prophet already out, I'm inclined to think Storm Spirit is probably one of the best pickups for Invasion at this point. if they are able to jump forward and lock down the Warlock and kill him off, then that's such an easier fight for Invasion. And, well, they already had the Visage, so if they do get the jump in, the Visage will have his Soul Assumption bar filled up pretty quickly, so they'll be able to nuke someone else down fairly fast, and if once you take out one part of the puzzle, the fight gets a lot easier if you're Invasion. If you take out two, then you pretty much have already won the fight, so want to see some initiation from Invasion, and first departure, I think the Warlock Venomancer Faceless Void Core is probably the way to go. Just Warlock is a crappy support, very much so like Silencer. Gets online once he hits level 6, but doesn't really do anything until then. So you want to get him a little bit of farm, as kind of the same thing for the Venomancer. So I would like to see those people playing the core role, and then first departure, possibly going for another support.
If they do want to give the Doom core farm in the safe lane or in the mid, I would think that Centaur is a pretty solid pickup for them. It hasn't been banned out and would still give them that ability to initiate, as well as a really solid way to chase people down with the Doom and Viper. They're going to benefit very heavily from the Stampede. So it depends on how they actually want to lane things. Tidehunter is still in the pool, although I don't think it's as solid for getting just a really straightforward jump in. It could also be an option.
Yeah, they do have quite a few options. It's just a matter of how they want to deal with this upcoming aggression that's going to be played out by first departure, because you could go for a very slow hero if they really wanted to, but then you'd be severely punished. Picking up a hero that naturally builds up a Diffusal Blade is not a terrible idea, but normally those types of heroes are rather late game oriented in something like a Riki or a Spectre. So those heroes, though sometimes they could be nice, will be under a lot of pressure early on, and that's really not something that that Invasion would probably want to deal with, when they could just as easily go for something a little bit more simple and a little bit more straightforward. Trying to think of more Blink initiators. Aside for that Centaur with the Blink Hoof Stomp, the Tidehunter with Blink Ravage is another good way of starting the fight, and he is still in the pool, so it is going to be that Centaur.
Yeah, pretty standard, but I think it fits very well into Invasion's lineup. It's not the Stormster, but it's going to give them safer farm for their Doom, which is going to be nice, as Doom doesn't really do much in that off lane. As far as stopping the push or pulling off creep aggro or anything of the sort, he's going to be zoned out very easily. Centaur can at least stand pretty effectively, although if this is like a Venomancer, Witch Doctor, or Tri-Lane +1, there's going to be very little the Centaur Warner can actually do, with the exception of just Soak experience.
Yeah, the slows and first departure are seriously legit in this game. Venomancer and Warlock, if he does go for a couple points in Upheaval, doesn't have to be right off the bat, but eventually, I'm sure Upheaval is going to be what he wants to go for. Then Invasion are going to be so reliant on the Stampede in order to get anywhere, because if they aren't, the only stuns they have are Rubik's Telekinesis. Eventually, the Visage Familiars will be one of the best tools for Invasion, but until those are up and actually available to stun the heroes in the back for departure with their channeling, it's going to be difficult for Invasion to actually move around. That being said, neither team really has a whole bunch of mobility movement speed. I mean, Centaur has eventually a blink, and Doom probably has a blink as well eventually. Faceless Void only has time walk, so first departure, they're more of the group up and slowly walk down the lane, as opposed to, playing the run and gun type of fights.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how first departure round out the rest of their lineup. I'm hoping for another support, and somehow Shadow Shaman's still available in the pool. I think that would be a pretty solid pickup for them, offers more oomph into their push. And with the Witch Doctor, those two supports can make some things happen, and if it's passive, it doesn't really bother them that much. They'll just wait until they get their level 6s online for everybody, and then they can just start 5-man pushing. Yeah, I think that would be pretty solid. Scarth Mage is available. As much as we've seen Scarth Mage, it combos very well with the Faceless Void, and I don't think there's a compelling reason not to pick up one of those two.
Except for the reason of, we want to play some weird heroes that aren't often seen. First departure, if they do want to go even deeper into the push and a lot more aggressively, they could think of something like a Enchantress and try to get the push going on from a very early stage. Really, it's a level 6 where Warlock really gets online, but with the Witch Doctor, they can go for that early play, although it looks like instead it's going to be a little bit more solidified into the lanes. With this puck pickup, either Warlock or Venomancer are going to be shoved into support roles. I'd rather see a Venomancer support than a Warlock support, but who knows what first departure are actually going to get around to doing. Yeah,
I'm hoping that that's an offlane puck and, offlane puck mid Venomancer and Faceless Void towards the safe lane. Or maybe offlane tri-lane Venomancer with Faceless Void solo safe and then puck mid. But yeah, I really don't want to see, or rather, I switched that around. Warlock in the place of Venomancer. But yeah, Venomancer as a support can actually do things early on. Gale is a really good ganking spell. Fairly easy to land, although it is a skill shot somewhat. If you start things off with a Cask and then follow up with the Gale, it's fairly easy to line up kills, especially on heroes like the Doom and Centaur, although they are going to need a little bit more damage from that. They'll be able to chase them down and just run at them with those spells. So yeah, I'm hoping this Warlock does get the core Mensive farm. But that said, we're going to start off with Pause, and that'll give us some time to introduce our teams. On the Dire side, we are going to have Invasion with Ghost, playing on the Doom, OK on the Rubik, FZ on the Centaur Warner, ADTR on the Visage, and that will leave Keswick Imba on the Viper. And apparently it is in the bag for first departure.
Was that like a taunt thing that he's doing, or is he just saying it's in the bag? I don't know, but for first departure, we got playing the puck KS on that hero. Trinkets is going to be playing the Warlock. I believe that's just a pure stand-in for first departure. Mikasa is on the Faceless Void. Lubby is going to be playing the Venomancer, and then the last hero, Kai, is going to be playing the Witch Doctor, which is currently not on the field because it's the traditional Dota pause. You can't start a game and then really start a game. You have to wait for it. I don't really know how this lanes are going to work out for first departure, as Trinkets is standing in. Lubby, I think, is the support player for first departure, so I'm more inclined to say that this is going to be a support Venomancer, and then Witch Doctor getting core farm is pretty rare, so I think it's safe to say that Trinkets is probably going to be playing a core Warlock role, although it's difficult to tell, always difficult to tell whenever there's stand-ins involved.
Yeah, definitely. A little side note, Mikasa's portrait for the Faceless Void, at least on my side, looks really awesome, as it has like these electric particles over his hand. I'm not sure if that's just on my end or if it's for everybody.
No, it's his hammer that's... Yep. The particles haven't like settled on the hammer. If you like pull up his portrait, that's like... and start spinning the statue thing, it's actually like right in front of him, which is pretty sweet.
Yep, that looks better. They should just keep them there. Either way, we're waiting for Witch Doctor to get into the game, and there we go. We are going to see the beautiful face of Kai.
I didn't realize what they were talking about, but yeah, I wasn't actually reading that. I was too busy looking at the Faceless Void, but their chat is, well, let's say very friendly, as we're going to see the loadouts of these heroes. It is going to be confirmed a Venomancer support. Most likely it's going to be a Witch Doctor support as well, and, well, it looks like Trinkets is just heading up towards the top lane. Cass is probably going to join him, but is this going to be an aggressive tri-lane for first departure? Faceless Void is capable of soloing up a lane versus Doom. He'll be doing just fine. But this aggressive tri-lane, I don't know if it could actually get kills very easily. 3 range heroes is nice, so you could get a lot of poking damage in, but they are kind of low on the lockdown, having the Warlock in there.
Yeah, they're also going up against a tri-lane with Lift into Hoof Stomp, and then you follow up with the Visage Soul Assumption, then you have Grave Chill to run people down. I think that their tri-lane is actually a little bit better than that coming out from first departure. I'm not sure. It's going to depend very heavily on whether or not they get the early kills, and while we might have a very early engagement, it's okay. He's going to run straight into Trinkets, not going to throw out a lift, and now they're going to focus on OK. They get the Paralyzing Cask, and they'll follow up with Gale. He lifts up Trinkets. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to save him. The right clicks, are they going to be there? He throws out the heal, and one more. They need a little bit more damage in order to secure this kill, and there they have it. Trinkets draws first blood in this top lane. Scratch everything I said already. This top lane is going to look pretty good for first departure after this first blood. Going to secure Warlock, a little bit of extra farm, and I don't know, it's a start that I didn't expect to have happen, and it doesn't look like either team actually expected it, as, I don't know, the Centaur and Rubik were very awkwardly positioned over in this camp, and they were looking potentially to find first blood on an offlaner, but didn't find it, and they ended up bumping into 3.
I thought that with the Centaur positioned in that camp, they would have definitely at least helped, but Centaur just bailed. Like, he just left the Rubik for dead and just like, hey, sorry bro, you're on your own for this one. I think the Centaur probably could have saved the Rubik, since the Rubik barely went down in that fight. So if Centaur wasn't just out of that lane immediately, then I'm pretty sure the Rubik could have gotten away alive. But for whatever reason, Invasion decided to leave their Rubik for dead. And a first blood going the way of the Warlock is always going to be very nice. He has his boots and another 400 gold in his pocket. A Ring of Basilius in this lane could be pretty nice, seeing as though both these heroes, Witch Doctor and Venomancer, will benefit heavily from being able to just throw out their skills willy-nilly and then just put some damage on. Being 2 right-click heroes, or 2 ranged heroes, that can put out some serious right-click damage early on, means that anytime they have a Gale available and they're not using it, it's wasted potential damage.
Yeah, The other matchups, we're going to have a Doom versus Faceless Void, which is a matchup that Faceless Void's going to be very happy about. But then again, Doom's not going to be too sad about it either. He should be able to get a decent amount. He's also gone for the Ice Armor early on. I think that was just the creep that was available. Other than that, Hellbear Smasher, one of the most useless creeps that you can snag. So the extra armor is going to be useful for Ghost in this lane. But Faceless Void, probably just going to have unimpeded farm. Mid-lane matchup, Viper versus Puck. Viper should be able to take this matchup fairly handily, although Puck is starting out very well in this lane. 4 and 6 compared to the 2 and 2 of the Viper. I don't expect that to be the status quo for much longer.
Pretty sure I just saw Puck phase shift the corrosive skin, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but this Void is going for an inherently defensive build. He's gone with level 1 in the backtrack against Doom. Thought for sure that it'll be maxing out time lock so that if push comes to shove, he could just start dueling the Doom. And Faceless Void, if he gets a couple bashes, can easily come out ahead. But he's in this for the long haul. He expected a very hard lane with 8 tangos, but he's definitely not going to be running into that anytime soon. So Mikasa, who I'm told is Miracle, so in case anyone was wondering, Miracle, Mikasa, same person, is expecting a much harder lane than he's actually in. As well, we have a mid lane where the haste rune is picked up and Gale is available. This Visage might just be dead. Poison Sting's doing a lot of damage. A Telekinesis is available into a Hoof Stomp potentially, but the haste is going to make it very difficult for any of those spells to stick. And they'll be just going to slither away really quickly. They're just buying a lot of space for trinkets in this top lane.
Yeah, it is. It's not going to net them any kills, but still, a lot of space. Trinkets is farming pretty well. 6 and 4. He's probably saving straight up for Arcane Boots since he hasn't bought the Basilius or sent anything to him on the courier. But even that is going to offer a lot of sustain in this lane for these heroes, is that's going to directly translate into heals coming up from the Warlock, as well as just damage coming up from Lubby as well as Kai. So it's going to be really solid for them. But yeah, Faceless Void is doing fine. Puck is doing better than expected, although not winning. All of the action should be isolated in this top lane unless we see any rotations, which honestly I'm not sure we're going to be seeing.
Mikasa's actually gone for a very peculiar build. With the Poor Man's Shield already done, he's decided to go for 2 additional Slippers of Agility, which, aside from the Poor Man's Shield, only build into Wraith Bands, and then those Wraith Bands only build into Ring of Aquila. I guess one of them could go into Ring of Aquila, but getting a lot of early agility, I suppose, will help him in the Doom duels, but it's kind of weird to see, seeing as though he could just easily get Power Treads do the same thing. Now Trinket's going to get stomped up on top lane. Grave Chill's there, but he's still alive due to the sustain from Kai. Trinkets will survive an FC, taking so much damage from these ranged heroes that he will be denied, actually. Well played by ADTR. But is there any more disable? Lubby doesn't have a Gale, and the cask is still cooling down. It's ultimately going deep for Trinkets, and Warlock, as far as supports here, as int heroes go, is more on the tanky side. Like, he's no Jakiro, he's no Ogre Magi, but he's certainly a little bit durable, so he'll be able to survive that. And yeah, it looks like after a quick pause, it's just going to be a denied Centaur up on top lane.
Yeah, still went better than it could have gone for first departure. Is just the sustain coming out from their heroes is a little too much for Invasion to go through. So they really only have like 1 round of burst. You have the Hoof Stomp Double Edge, then you have the follow-up Soul Assumption, you have the Fade Bolt as well. But that's not enough to get the kill on Trinkets when he's healing up with the Witch Doctor as well as his Shadow Word. The build from Warlock is, I don't know, one that I usually don't see. He's currently gone 1-2-1. I like this. He'll be able to invest a little bit more into the upheaval later on, and the early point into the Fatal Bonds is going to be nice in this tri-lane if you can snag that on multiple heroes, or even just on the creeps. It's going to be very helpful at just getting as much damage as possible out. Still fairly passive in most of these lanes, but First Departure are getting more out of these, I would say.
Well, it looks like Invasion are going to look to change the status quo. They're roaming out the Rubik as well as the Visage towards the middle lane. They will have to deal with the phase shift and an Invis rune for the Puck, so I don't think they're actually capable of getting this kill, especially when Puck sees them coming and then goes Invis. No detection on these supports. It looks like Chaos is going to be just fine, as in the meantime, bottom lane, it's going to be Faceless Void, dueling the Doom, did come out ahead, got the kill first, so a little bit of a win for Miracle down in the bottom lane.
A very peculiar action coming out from Faceless Void. He had the Chronosphere. I'm not sure how that actually went down. The Doom is only level 4. So yeah, it is going to favor the Faceless Void at the end of that, but still, I'm not sure why he was going that aggressive. I didn't actually watch that. It would have been interesting to see what led up to it. Maybe he just got a lucky bash and is like, hey, I can get this kill, and then died to the tower or something. Yeah.
I was watching Miracle for a little bit, and he has been getting rather lucky bashes. I saw him got 2 in a row, against Ghost, so wouldn't put it past him to just manipulate the RNG into giving him bashes all the time. Time Lock is level 4, so the bashes are going to be coming out quite frequently, and Doom, until he gets at level 6, really can't duel up against Faceless Void, and once he does get his Doom available, he'll be able to, in theory, kill out the Void, but Void, if he harasses the Doom down low beforehand, he could very easily turn around and potentially kill off Ghost before Ghost kills him off. So this bottom lane, not going too well for the Invasion side. Faceless Void is outlast hitting Doom by quite a large margin. Now, the Devour is always going to make it a little bit easier for Doom to recover, but still not a one lane for Invasion, not by any means.
Yeah. Puck casually had his boots on the floor for quite some time. I'm not sure why. Yeah, currently just playing, or just juggling items throughout the career. He drops himself a ward in mid to give him high ground vision, and that's going to be the damage of it. They're looking for an initiation up top. They're not going to find is the poison sting from the ward's going to slow down OK, and OK's in a little bit of misposition. They're going to be able to de-ward this observer that was freshly paced, and now they rotate in Kai. He's going to get the bounce back to the Visage after the Rubik, but that's going to be all she wrote. And, well, no spells being thrown out after the fact. It's the Doom's going to die again to the Faceless Void before, wait, did he just use Chronosphere again? Either way, they're going to have a very short upheaval, and now the Grave Chill going the way of Trinkets. Trinkets focused down with the double edges, now the lift down. They're going to be able to find themselves a much-needed kill up here, but now they're fighting up against ADTR. ADTR is falling fairly low, and with the Fatal Bonds going the way of the Centaur, Centaur might fall as well, but it's not enough damage as Lubby as well as the Witch Doctor are going to fall. Rotation down towards bottom coming out from the Puck nets them a kill onto the Doom. They get the Visage up top, so across the map it's 3 for 2 in the favor of Invasion, but still Invasion coming out ahead, wiping the tri-lane coming out from first departure.
And when you're working with 3 ranged heroes that, aside from their crowd control and then just right clicks, the way you win the lane is by isolating one person and slowly bringing him down. When the enemy brings the heat to you, then you really don't have anything to hide behind until the Warlock gets his level 6. So it's just a very easy cleanup whenever Invasion decide to rotate or go super aggressively on these 3 ranged heroes, because even though they have a lot of lane control, at the end of the day they're still very, very fragile heroes. So they just got a little bit too close to the enemy, and even though Warlock now has a point booster, just not enough to survive that onslaught, especially with the Viper rotating up. And now another smoke up as Centaur as well as Visage looking for the bot lane, so to kill off Miracle. Ghost has a Doom, and it looks like this should be a very easy kill on the Faceless Void, assuming the Doom doesn't misclick or anything like that. There's the Doom and Mikasa off to the trees. Finish off his power treads, so he's going to spend the majority of his gold before he goes down, but now that he's stuck, he actually has no way of getting out. He's going to get Soul Assumption, Double Edge to take the kill. Centaur contributed absolutely nothing to that except for stealing that, so well done, Centaur, but a kill on the Faceless Void is a kill on the Faceless Void. They got to slow him down as any way they can.
Yeah, Faceless Void currently the highest last hitter in the game with 49 and 22, doing wonderful in this lane, and even though he did die that last time, he did spend his gold before buying power treads, and I didn't think he lost anything from that, and it looks like he didn't, so it's more or less just lost farming time for the Faceless Void, which isn't that bad as they go up on top. The Puck is here, he's going to phase shift dodge something. The Mist Coil, or Dream Coil, going to be dropped as here comes the Warlock Golem. They're going to blow up OK. Will OK actually fall? Centaur jumps into the fray as well. The Puck is going to be able to get it up, but the Venomancer not so lucky. He's brought down by the Viper's last auto attack. They might lose their Centaur here. He's taking a decent amount of damage from the Fatal Bonds, and now Witch Doctor pops him on with his auto attack. The Puck is going to try to phase shift dodge something, but it's not going to happen as the Chronosphere comes out in 2. There is no Witch Doctor ultimate, but the 3 levels in the Maledict should secure these 2 kills very easily. 4-1 the trade in the top lane. Actually, they got the Venomancer before that, so 4 for 2, but still win for first departure after a nice rotation from the Faceless Void.
Yeah, Faceless Void leaving the lane at this point is not really expected when you have such an easy lane for the Void to farm in. Trinket's also getting a lot of value off of that Warlock Golem, and I thought the fight wouldn't have gone that well for first departure, seeing as though they did lose their main source of slow in the Venomancer. And once you lose that, you really struggle to have the Warlock Golem keep on hitting people. But they're going to go in for OK. Cast is going to be thrown, and the Warlock Golem is going to put one fist into OK's face. With the Maledict on him, OK is just dead now. Can they get anyone in return, though? Kai, look at Double Edge. That's another kill, 1-for-1 trade so far. Support for support, though Miracle still in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get hoof stomped. He has a level 3 time walk. He's going to have to get out of here, and he's going to try. But now the upheaval from Trinkets won't really do too much as he's got to bail. He does have Chaos right behind him, and he has a coil cooling down, so it looks like they should be fine. Everyone will be fine, in fact. Although Miracle is running off to the right in a very awkward angle. There's no one in his way, so Invasion won't be able to cut him off or anything like that. So 10-8 is the ultimate kill score, and it's just another support for support trade.
Yeah, Witch Doctor finds himself an urn as well as the magic wand for himself. A lot of cost-effective items for the Witch Doctor, but now we have the level 6 importantly up for him. So in 30 seconds, Faceless Void and Witch Doctor should probably look to try to find a fight. If they catch 2 people out in the Chronosphere, those 2 people are more or less just straight up dead.
Yeah, Chronosphere and Maledict, which is the build that we very rarely see on the Witch Doctor. If you do have the Witch Doctor getting pretty much guaranteed space, and in this game he does with the Warlock Golem as well as Chronosphere, then the Maledict does get just so much better. I still think maxing Cask is a little bit better than Maledict in general. Just having those additional stuns is going to be a little bit more solid than the Maledict, but hell, to each his own, I guess, as the support, the Courier down bottom lane is actually going to narrowly dodge death. The Familiar's kind of sleeping, and the Courier does get to walk home alive. Mikasa is going to go for Mask of Madness after this very agility-heavy opening. And if he's playing this active early on, which normally Faceless Voids don't, then I think it's perfectly okay getting this many agility items early on. Lets you hit harder.
Yep. I don't know, just gonna take a second to apologize to the people watching on Dota TV. I have been coughing up a storm, and though I have been able to mute the mic on stream, I haven't been able to do so in Dota TV. So sorry about that, as we are going to see a smoke down bottom. Chronosphere as well as Witch Doctor Ultimate are available, and if the Doom gets caught out, he is going to die. But for now, he is going to back up, play defensively with the rest of his team. And, well, smoke up, looking for an aggressive movement of our own. We could be seeing a pretty large clash here, as 3 versus 3, as well as the Familiars are coming down from Invasion. Who are they going to find? If they get it to Doom onto Mikasa, it could be huge, and they're going to run into him, lift him up, Doom him back, pull him back in the rest of the team. Mikasa's falling low, but there's a triple Dream Coil. No, it's only going to land onto 2, and Mikasa's still safe, and now here comes the Death Ward as well as the Golem. They're going to be able to clean up 2 very easily. Time walk away from OK. OK, he's okay for now, but will he be able to make it out? They get the vision of him, but they don't have a way to cancel that TP. And, well, he will be okay. So now the push comes in bottom with the Warlock Golem in tow. Despite not having the Chronosphere, they had enough to really make that work for them. As with the Maledict landing on multiple units, as well as the Warlock dropping his ulti, it was a really convincing fight for them. Their Orifices Familiars inbound. They're going to annoy the puck, and, well, I think the best that they can hope for is a tower deny. It might look for it, not going to find it. That's going to be the tower, given the way of the Radiant team. And now the Rubik, he's inbound, looking to be scouted by the Warlock Golem. They're going to find OK, but not going to commit to him. Faceless Void just going to bop the tier 2 tower a couple of times before backing off.
The failed smoke, quote-unquote, from First Departure was actually instrumental in them winning that. The Invasion side did not know that the Faceless Void had supports, because it was just the Faceless Void in lane farming pretty close to his tower. It's nothing out of the ordinary there, though. So the fact that Witch Doctor was still hidden and Puck was in the side shop area, that pretty much instantly won the fight from First Departure, because Evasion, they invested so deep into killing off the Faceless Void, and if he was alone, they could have gotten him. But he had a lot of backup in the Warlock ultimate as well as the Puck ultimate. They're going to jump in for mid as OK is instantly going to get cast, though he does get the lift up onto Kai. Maledict is there onto OK. Mikasa off to the side, thinking about a Chronosphere. He's going to catch 4 actually, as FC does run right into it. People to follow up, and Faceless Void just going to town. He's going to kill off the Rubik, but that's about all he's going to find now, as Mikasa does get with a double edge and the stuns to kill him off. Faceless Void is down, though he does buy back into the game and start teleporting back in. First Departure, they need more of the heroes, but they're all in the mid lane. Kai can land on the Maledict, although it looks like that missed onto FC. Mikasa back into the fight, but another 2-man hoof stomp onto Kai. Double edge to follow up. Mikasa has got to run. This can't be a Faceless Void dying back. That'll just be so crippling for First Departure, but it looks like they're going to be just fine as they do teleport in the Puck. The Venomancer and Puck have taken out the tier 1 tower, and now they're looking to reinforce. They've lost a little bit on the bottom lane, though, so I don't know if it's worth it, especially with Mikasa getting jumped once again. The Soul Assumption is there, and Mikasa will go down despite the coil from KS. Where is the support? It's just not coming in yet. KS is also going to get run down. One more attack from Viper will be dodged. Needs another. Soul Assumption, the orb out, and it looks like KS is going to end up in the trees. It looks like Invasion are not going to chase this one down, but Invasion, with the Blink Dagger on the Centaur, getting so much value out of that new item.
They really did. That Centaur, I think that was at least 3 hoof stops in that last fight that were at least on 2 heroes. It was ridiculous. They were able to find the Faceless Void twice. That's a dieback from Mikasa there, and that's not where you want your Faceless Void to be. His item progression is going to be stopped quite a bit by those last couple of deaths. Warlock picks himself up an Aghanim Scepter, which is a really big pickup for him. Yeah. It's still not looking terrible for First Departure, although they are starting to lose a grip on their lead, and their lead isn't that significant at this point in the game. 2,000 gold in their favor, as well as 2,000 experience. It's nothing insurmountable, and with the Blink Daggers on Invasion, or at least the one on the Centaur, they're still able to fight very effectively. Yeah, no Blink Dagger yet on the Doom. He's actually gone for Drums after Trunkle Boots and an Orb of Venom. Very peculiar build coming out from Ghost. And still sticking onto that Ice Armor. They're going to TP top. The Venomancer is inbound. No way to really run in place or run at the Venomancer unless they drop the Centaur ultimate. But without any other backup, although the backup is coming soon, they're going to Gale up the Doom, but not drop anything else onto him. They're posturing very heavily up in this top lane. Upheaval straight onto the Doom. It's going to be ignored by the Centaur ultimate. Now he jump on the Trinkets. Will he be able to get his ultimate off first? He's going to drop the Golem on the sidelines. They're stuck in the Chronosphere for now, but this should be fairly easy 2 kills, as well as a tier 1 tower. These golems are just going to rip it to shreds. Visage is coming through the backlines, trying to focus down Trinkets. He's healing up too much, and now the puck, he's going to jump after ADTR. ADTR is going to get vision, and now with the time walk forward, they're looking for the bash. They're not going to find it, but it's not necessary. The silence and a couple of auto attacks from Mikasa is all that they needed. The Visage Familiars, I think one is already dead, and only one is surviving currently. It's going to be bopped by one of these Plague Wards. One more is all that they need. He's going to fly over one, and that's going to be 2 Familiars down from the Visage in a huge fight for first departure. Now they'll be able to knock on this tier 2 tower.
That was a monstrous win for first departure. The fact that the Warlock got his Aghanims up so very early, like 15-minute Aghanims is quick on any hero, let alone a Warlock. And those 2 Golems, even though they were technically just stuck in the Chronosphere, they were dealing 60 damage per second with their immolation onto that Doom. And that's some serious magical damage when you're caught in there for the entirety of the Chronosphere. The Golems will run their time, and they will not be brought down, it looks like. It's going to be close for one, but they just naturally time out. First departure take a fantastic fight, and they still have Death Ward. They still will have the puck ultimate soon enough. Really, they can't fight comfortably unless Trinkets has his ultimate. But crucially in that fight, the Warlock, though he did get initiated upon, did survive. That's the Aghanim Scepter and the inherent tankiness of the hero coming into play right there. And Invasion, they need to focus him down a little bit more. They would love to save the Doom for the Faceless Void, but at a certain point, it's going to be the Warlock who takes the Doom, because a Warlock with no ultimate is a fairly useless hero. So Faceless Void might have a little bit more free time to get his Chronospheres off, seeing as though the Warlock just climbed the prioritization list of Invasion by quite a large margin, given the fact that he has his Aghanims, and also Venomancer has a new Veil of Discord. So the magical damage from these Warlock Golems is going to be intense.
Not even just the Warlock Golems, but the Puck Burst, as well as the Maledict. You're going to have the Venomancer dots, as well as the Faceless Void Bashes, all amplified by that. It's an item that I'd like to see prioritized a little bit more than it is currently, but on first departure, this is going to make their team very scary, as we're not close to a BKB on anybody on the side of an Invasion. Nobody's even thinking about picking it up. I think Doom eventually will get one, but these next couple of team fights are really going to sting. Centaur potentially looking for initiation. He is invised up, and, well, they might be able to find themselves Trinkets here if they want to dive this tower, but it is very hard to do so, as there's pretty much everybody there with the exception of the Faceless Void, who could TP back at a moment's notice. He has the Chronosphere, and this fight could go well for either team. Right now it's just the tier 1 tower that looks like it's going to fall in the favor of Invasion without much of a contention. They are going to drop the Glyph for a little bit more of delayed time, but still, we're waiting for Invasion for the posturing. They drop the Visage Familiars down on the ground. Don't stun anybody. And now Trinkets, he's walking up forward. The Centaur, where's he going to jump to? He's not going to find Lubbies. He gets stunned up. Nice Sentry Ward. Going to avoid this. And now the Warlock Golems drop onto 2 heroes, and they're trying to get some uptime. Where's the Chronosphere? It's going to catch out 2. And now he's just going to focus on OK. He's getting bashed down by the Faceless Void. Now the Death Ward being channeled. It's focused down the Centaur, and with that maxed out Maledict, it looks like that's going to be enough to get that kill. Doom goes away with the Faceless Void after Chronosphere, and he's caught inside an Upheaval, and the Golems are just going to bop him down. Ghost is probably going to follow the Viper. Focusing down Lubby. Lubby is going to die for it. The Golems aren't fast enough to chase down this Doom, but the Viper not going to be so lucky. Despite getting the Venomancer kill, he's going to fall down. Mikasa picking himself up a killing spree. Doom somehow managed to get himself out of there alive, probably due to just the tank from the drums as well as the armor from Tranquil Boots and Ice Armor. But still, a teamfight win for first departure. You can't fight into that if you're Invasion. Once they have Chronosphere as well as Chaotic Offering, I'm not sure you can actually jump into them.
Yeah, and the Chaotic Offering came up pretty much as soon as the fight actually started, so the timing was the Trinkets Golems came up, and then the Sentry Ward was dropped, like pretty much one after another. And even though the fight was won by first departure, it could have gotten a lot worse for Invasion. They got out at very low amounts of HP with both the Centaur as well as the Doom, so it didn't go too terrible. And when you get hit with a 3-man Chaotic Offering and a 2-man Chronosphere, you expect to lose a couple more heroes than just, 2. So all in all, Invasion, they don't lose as much as they really should have, I think, because the slows and the crowd control wasn't really there to keep the Golems close to their targets. So they should be counting their blessings there, but still, first departure, as long as they fight with their Chaotic Offering available, and as long as the Warlock doesn't get doomed, which is going to be a little bit easier since Doom is very close to his Blink Dagger, then first departure are going to take pretty much every team fight from moving forward, as Venomancer does get caught in the river area. Just a blink initiation from Centaur into just a whole bunch of magical damage. Pretty simple kill there, but first departure, yeah, they just have to make sure to get their Warlock ultimate and Chronosphere out every fight, and if they do, they're probably going to win.
Yeah, big item pickup for first departure in the form of the BKB for the Faceless Void. He's going to be pretty difficult for Invasion to deal with. If he gets that BKB off, even if they doom him up, he's not gonna care all that much, as there's still plenty of spells to delay the team fight enough to where he can get back in with his Chronosphere. They have the Dream Coil as well as the Chaotic Offering to buy them some space, as well as probably win the team fight without the Faceless Void. And if they doom somebody else, this Faceless Void is going to run free throughout the team fights. Yeah, first departure, despite not winning that fight as much as they might have been able to if they focused on heroes more effectively, they still won the last fight, and are still looking really good in this game. And, well, Mikasa potentially looking for a Chronosphere in mid. If too many people from Invasion show up to push out this lane, it could be pretty big for them. BKB, time walk in for the Chronosphere could be huge. They're playing defensively enough, and now they summon the Visage Familiars, but it looks like this tier 2 tower in mid is not long for this world, as first departure are going to commit eventually. They have all of their cooldowns ready, and when they do, it's a scary team to fight into.
So Ghost has his key item up. It's the Blink Dagger for the Doom, and that's going to be instrumental in him actually getting his Doom off on a proper target before an ultimate gets dropped. If he Dooms Warlock after the ultimates are dropped or something like that, then that's pretty much just a lost tower and a lost team fight for Invasion. They need to take the Warlock ultimate down, and the only way to do that is to get a blink on him. But look at his positioning from Trinkets. He's so far back. He's a little bit further up now, but Mikasa is really the one that wants to look tasty for the Doom, as they do clean out the Visage Familiars that are on cooldown for another monstrous 130 seconds. So Familiars are down, and Invasion are going to be fighting with one less ultimate in this upcoming fight. The Venomancers also cleared out all the Observers and Sentries that were around the mid lane, and now it's just a slow but steady push down mid. Mikasa's keeping off to the side, and really the ideal situation for first departure is for Puck to take the Doom, because Puck usually is a pretty good Doom target, but if they keep the Warlock safe, then the Chaotic Offering is going to drop, and then no matter who gets doomed, the Warlock Golems will be there to back him up. So Invasion, they're not getting pushed that aggressively because inherently First Departure are more of a fighting team than a pushing team, so they don't have to be forced into anything, but still they have to be a little bit scared of grouping up, because if they group up even for a second, like right now, that could have been a very easy team fight initiation if First Departure were all still there.
Yeah, but they did back off, and once they showed themselves in those lanes is when they grouped up. Mikasa's still inbound, potentially looking for a jump in mid. He has a decent amount of backup, and Doom might bump into Mikasa. Here we go, Mask of Madness. He's trying to focus down the Doom. He's just going to be forced to time walk away. No spells spent either, or on either side, so it's not a big loss for Mikasa, but, you know, just hoping he could get a little bit more aggressive than he did.
Yeah, Mikasa's just going to go right back to farming. BKB, Mask of Madness, 23 minutes in. It's more or less where you want your Faceless Void to be. He's holding on to quite a bit of gold, so I expect a Maelstrom to come up. That's the standard item to go for. Unless he does want to go for an Aghanim Scepter on the Faceless Void, it might be a little bit too narrow in that he'll be super, super reliant on his ultimates, and they're already reliant on their ultimates as it is, so you might as well get a little bit of a contingency plan by going for something that hurts a little bit more than an Aghanim Scepter, but still options for the Faceless Void are available as First Departure. They're going to very slowly but surely take control of this map. A gem on the Venomancer is pretty nice in that you'll always have those Plague Wards to get to those hard-to-reach places, and you don't really have to invest anything once you just drop a couple of Plague Wards here and there. But it looks like First Departure, after failing out the mid lane, they're going to try to look for initiation on the bot. Centaur, though, is perfectly positioned, and Doom is ready to jump in as well, so this could be very bad for First Departure.
Yep, it definitely could, if they find the initiation on the Warlock and Faceless Void, most importantly, in this team fight. Right now, Centaur is going to back himself off, but the Doom is still in position. He's currently smoked up, looking for a Blink Doom initiation, and he might be able to find Trinkets, who is currently on the left-hand side of the fight. Warlock, he can afford to sit this far back, because his ultimate as well as Upheaval, and pretty much all of his spells, with the exception of Fatal Bonds, have a pretty ridiculous cast range. But yeah, Visage Familiars, yet again, they're going to be chipped down by these Venomancer Plague Wards, and it's just been the bane of the Visage. His life this game is he's lost his Familiars multiple times to those Plague Wards.
This is going to be one of those standoff situations, I think. KS is constantly scouting out with those Illusory Orbs, and Mikasa's off to the right, waiting for a Chronosphere opportunity on more than just this Viper, but that's not really going to happen. So it's both teams waiting for a good position to open up with, but both teams are kind of not grouping up enough to actually make it happen, as Puck trying to make himself look tasty. He wants to bait out something from Invasion, but Invasion, they're not biting.
Oh,
Yep,
jump
there it
in
is,
from
Mikasa.
Mikasa. He's going to BKB
He's gonna get a
Chronosphere.
Doom onto 2, and Trinkets is gonna get doomed. This is gonna be a dead Warlock, or at the very least, a useless Warlock. Kai gonna channel his Death Ward, though. Will kill off the Viper, who instantly buys into the game. Mikasa now gonna go for that Centaur, who will get brought down eventually. Now the Doom in the Viper, back in this fight. Centaur is the only one down, and is gonna stay down. Warlock dead is gonna buy back. And this is a nice opportunity for First Departure, seeing as though the Doom is down, but the Warlock has his ultimates up. Mikasa is unfortunately going to leave the lane, though. So with this buyback on the Warlock, they actually can't do anything. This is going to be a completely useless buyback.
Yeah, more or less. They didn't have Chronosphere, so just not feeling comfortable enough to fight, and they didn't have the BKB on the Faceless Void either, so yeah, they probably should have saved that. It was an opening that they might have been able to take if they had, like, Boots of Travel on the Warlock, but I don't know, it just would have been too long for him to get in position, I feel. So yeah, pretty much a wasted buyback from the Warlock. Faceless Void is going to enjoy a little bit of farming time up top, currently sitting on 2,300 gold. We'll have to see where his next item is going to take him, but he's pooling quite a bit and looking a lot better in the net worth department than the enemy team. Yeah, right now we have a Faceless Void with 1,100 net worth compared to the highest farmer of Invasion of the Viper. With 7,500, it's just not going to cut it when you're talking about a Faceless Void. The late game from First Departure, I would say, is pretty good versus what Invasion are bringing to the table, even though a one-core lineup versus a Doom isn't that great. They are going to be forced to Doom the Warlock, Puck, and the other initiating heroes before this Faceless Void, and if they don't, a Warlock with Axe Refresher is still going to do a lot of work as they jump in onto OK. OK's probably going to die here. He gets a Maledict onto him, just a right-clicks. He has a stolen Chronosphere. They drops onto 3 heroes, which is nice, but there's no follow-up just yet. Where's the Centaur? They're not going to jump into this, and OK, he is going to take down to the Maledict. So, pick off for First Departure as well as drawing out the Chronosphere from the Rubik. I suppose that's okay. And now they're going to set their eyes on this 2-2 tower in mid. They have all of their cooldowns, and now's the time for First Departure to fight. Even though it is just a Rubik pick-off, it's a Rubik pick-off for 30 seconds, as well as fighting 4v5. So even though it's not a big hero, it's still enough to get this tier 2.
And also the Warlock is going to be playing, or should be playing, very far back. Going to drop the heal on Mikasa, so Faceless Void is going to be fine, but the Doom is available for Invasion. I think they could have made a defense on that if they really wanted to, and now after that 2-2 tower pick-off, First Departure, they're going to slide down to the bottom lane and do the exact same thing again. I think they probably could get away with this. Again, they have their ultimates that are all level 3. No, Warlock's ultimate is actually only level 2. Being in that supporty role, Warlock is going to be a little bit behind KS as well as Mikasa as far as his ultimate strength is concerned, but he does have the Aghanim Scepter, and he would be a little bit closer to the Refresher Orb if he didn't have to waste his buyback. They're going to clear off a double stack of Ancients beforehand. This is going to put KS and Lubby at a little bit more of a dangerous position, although KS should be just fine in the corner that he's hidden himself in, and Lubby, if he gets doomed or initiated upon, then First Departure are perfectly happy with that because it's only a Venomancer. Honestly, who cares? The Familiars are looking for someone, but again, this is going to be another stalled out situation where I don't think anyone's going to get the upper hand here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Faceless Void, his next item, looks like it's going to be a Lincoln Sphere for him. Going to be very useful up against the Doom initiation. And he can put it on the Warlock or anybody who doesn't want to get doomed if the timing is right. He might be able to have some clutch saves with it, but more than anything, it's going to make them a lot more comfortable going into these initiations. Despite it being a very defensive item, I think it's okay. I would have liked to see something, maybe like the Aghanim Scepter if he wants to tank up, or maybe just some straight up damage, but it's still going to work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, if he's really quick on that Lincoln Sphere and he saves the Warlock from the Doom, then it'll be really hard for an Invasion to take that fight from there on out. But right now, the Plague Wards are just constantly being deployed, the creeps are being traded, and Puck can throw out an orb, and then a silence that hits absolutely nothing. Mikasa now going to take Puck's place. He will look for an opportunity to Chronosphere, but again, this is a very slow situation. It's going to be even slower since OK stole probably the best skill he could steal right now in the Plague Wards. This push is going to go very, very slowly for First Departure, and well, I mean, neither team is actually farming, so I guess it doesn't benefit either side as the Chronosphere is deployed. Viper as well as Rubik are caught, and Doom looking for the ultimate onto Warlock. He does get the Doom onto the Warlock, and the Centaur's going to jump in and try to take out Trinkets in the meantime. Mikasa and the BKB trying to focus down Ghost, but they already take out the Witch Doctor. No Death Ward in this fight. Lubby dropping down pretty low, but did get his ultimate off already. So everyone from Invasion taking quite a bit of damage, but with no Witch Doctor, no Venomancer, and no Warlock ultimate, once again, they have to fall back. Invasion, they get the initiation that they wanted, in that they get the Doom on the right person, and the Doom on the right person is the Warlock every single time, and I think that'll continue to be the case for the rest of this game.
Yeah, more or less. They also lost the gem on the Venomancer that last fight, so a pretty big win for Invasion. They hold their 2-2 tower, even though it's taking a little bit of chip damage, it's still a really big win for them, and they might be able to seize a little bit more map control because of it. Yeah, first departure, they just don't have a great way to take these fights. They have a blinking puck as well as a time walk into Chronosphere from Faceless Void, but going into an enemy tower is very difficult. They can take fights in the choke points around Roshan or on their side of the map when they're the ones defending towers, but I don't know, their siege is very slow if it happens at all. Well, okay, might get bumped into by KS here. They do have the gem onto the Visage, I believe, so yeah. Even if the puck shows his face, he'll be in more trouble. So he will just farm up this wave and then phase shift back.
So as weird as it is to say, I think first departure they have to wait and farm for a Lincoln Sphere. Like, that is rarely ever the case. Lincoln Sphere, it just isn't that type of item, but now that the Faceless Void does have it, he could slap that on the Warlock, and Warlock's going to be a little bit safer. If the Doom has to slow down and use level death before he gets the ultimate off, that may be the difference of the Warlock contributing to the fight and being absolutely useless. And it looks like first departure with that Lincoln Sphere pickup, they're just going to go for it for round 3 on the bottom lane. Round 1 and 2 didn't exactly go their way, and, well, pretty much just going for it again. I mean, they have one item difference now, but I still don't think this is going to be what they really want to be doing with their game right now. If they get this tower, fine, but they're wasting a lot of time, and they're honestly not getting that much done by killing off this tier 2 tower. Maybe they can transition into Roshan, but Mikasa's going to lose his Lincoln Sphere now, and that is now shown to Invasion. The Rockets, or Trinket's Warlock, what am I saying? Trinket's Warlock is very, very well hidden, though Familiars will be constantly scouting out, so I don't think Warlock can stay in that corner forever as they do jump in, just running in, actually. ADTR is going to get caught with the coil, only one man, but if they bring down the Visage, again, then that's a pretty nice pick, and he will be brought down. Familiars are still alive, however, and Rubik going to time walk in and secure the gem. To pick on the Visage, that might open the door for this push, but again, it's both teams not really doing that much with their time as they get reinitiated upon. There's the bounce stun from the Witch Doctor. Once again, not really doing that much. Maybe these Familiars are going to die. Needs one more hit or something. Yeah, they take down the tower. I guess it's a win for first departure. It took a lot of time, though.
Yeah. Despite first departure not doing much during the time that they're sieging those towers, neither of them are Invasion, and it's still a win for first departure. I mean, nobody from Invasion is really farming very fast, partially due to their Curas and partially due to the fact that they have to sit in these standoffs very awkwardly. Doom, he's always going to have that Devour, but he hasn't had very much farming time at all, sitting at 75 CS at 33 minutes in. And then you have a Viper, just innately a very slow farming hero. He has his Agnums, his Mechanism, which is fine. It's enough for them to take fights as long as they get a good initiation from the Doom and Centaur.
Yeah, and those initiations have been coming, more or less. I mean, first departure, that time just walked right in, and that's not really the initiation you expect from first departure. They invested a Dream Coil, but it's going to be right back on cooldown pretty much immediately, so really, who cares about using a Dream Coil for that? It's very much so worth it, especially when the team fight was stalled out that hard. Investing any sort of spell to get a kill and break that stalemate is usually going to be worth it. The Faceless Void is still farming up, though he has gone for a whole ton of defensive items, so Faceless Void, though he does have Mask of Madness, is going to go straight for a Refresher. This Faceless Void is not actually going to be hitting that hard, so first departure, they're going to be now super, super reliant, even more so, on their big team fight ultimates, because the Faceless Void, though normally is going to be hitting hard with the Maelstrom and Mjolnir and Butterflies and Daedalus and stuff like that, this game is just not going to happen because he is going for such a utility-heavy build. If first departure get interrupted in their ultimate casting, such as with the Doom, like that has been the case for the past couple of fights, then they will just simply lose because they have no backup plan.
Yeah, definitely. The Witch Doctor ultimate's about to become their biggest source of damage, honestly, as he's getting dangerously close to that Aghanim Scepters. I mean, Kasa, he doesn't need to be the main focus of the damage in these teamfights, as he has enough to back him up. The Venomancer for magical damage as well as the Buck, you have the Golems hitting people as well as the Witch Doctor ultimate. I think it's fine that he's going for this build, although it is putting a lot of pressure on the team to not get picked apart, because if they lose any piece of the puzzle, it is all just going to shatter for them, and they won't be able to take a teamfight very convincing. If they lose the Warlock, if they lose the Witch Doctor, it's going to be a lot easier for Invasion to fight. But after this refresher, Mikasa, I'd like to see just maybe like a straight up Daedalus from him so he can actually do some significant damage in these team fights. But yeah, double BKB, double Lincolns, double Chronosphere is going to be pretty solid in this next team fight, or whenever he picks up the ultimate, or refresher that is.
They're going to find Viper off to the side. KS has a coil available, but not much backup. The Venomancer's here, and they will deploy the coil, but this is going after a Viper. That's very ambitious, and he's just going to very calmly teleport out. No, the Golems are going to get dropped. Meantime, Centaur gets picked off solo by Miracle. What is Miracle doing in the back end? Really want to see. He's going to kill off 2 by himself, in fact. What the hell just happened? This is Void finding 2 and getting it 2 pickoffs, whereas the rest of the team, with the Warlock Golems struggling to kill off a Viper, Faceless Void is apparently still very active in this game.
Yeah, apparently so. Finds himself a Centaur. Had to use the Chronosphere for that one, and then finds himself a Visage. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to drop his Aquila and pick up the gem back for his team, but into the Roshan Pit they go with these double Golems as well as the Faceless Void with the Mask of Madness constantly bashing Rush. It should be a fairly fast one, and I'm not sure there's much the Invasion can do about it, unless they commit everything, and they're just not going to get there in time. They don't have the respawn timers or buybacks.
I don't think you really count on that type of fight if you're Invasion. Like, your Viper gets picked off, fine. Like, it's a loss that you could probably absorb and be fine in the long run, but also 2 heroes that are playing super defensively get picked off as well by 1 enemy hero. That's like something you can never ever prepare for, and that's going to lead to a very nice advantage now for First Departure. The Refresher Orb recipe, the most important, most expensive item for the Faceless Void, is now available to him, and he has it. The Perseverance is going to come very shortly, and the Warlock is going to be heading on to his Refresher Orb as well. Should he get the double ultimate off, he's going to be just fine. Mikasa goes once again in for the Centaur. The Shivas is there. Mikasa attacking a little bit slower this time, but he still has enough damage to get that kill. Now the Doom onto Mikasa. He does have teleportation support available as Kai does come in with the stun, level 2 heal. That's going to mean that Faceless Void pretty much taking no damage from this Doom should be just fine. I don't know how this Faceless Void has enough damage to kill off a Centaur, but Centaur actually has mostly just utility items, and in the Chronosphere, those items count for nothing. Mikasa getting the right pick off at the right time. It's suddenly the Miracle Show. He's getting a whole lot of solo plays, and now Kai has his Aghanims as well. First Departure, if they keep getting picks like this, then this is going to be a very easy game for them.
Yeah, this is 72 seconds without the Doom Ultimate. Though they don't have any tier 2 towers left on the map to take, they can put some pressure on a high ground. They have an Aegis on your Faceless Void as well as a Refresher that can fly out if he wants it. I think they pretty much have all of the tools that they need to take a really convincing fight. Centaur is going to respawn, but without the Doom, First Departure's life just got a whole lot easier.
The only part that they don't have is the Warlock, who has to very slowly walk his way over to that bottom lane. So he will get there and have his ultimates available at the same time with a Refresher Orb, but still it's a little bit more of a delay where the Doom is slowly getting his ultimate cooldown. Now Mikasa going to jump forward very aggressively with the Aegis, and now Time Walk in from OK. Not really sure what the Rubik is doing with this one. Bad idea, OK. That's a terrible idea, in fact. Puck is going to get launched in the air after dropping the coil. He will blink out. Actually, no, he's still in. He will be fine, though. Warlock is slowly coming in. Rubik down, and Doom 17 seconds away. This is time for First Departure to throw their bodies at this tower and try to make something happen. Mikasa back at full HP after diving very aggressively. Has another Chronosphere available as well, but the Doom is going to be available in this upcoming fight, and Mikasa going to slowly start to pressure the high ground as Warlock does pick up his Refresher Orb. The jump in is going to be for Viper. Mikasa in the BKB. He's going to get a Chronosphere onto 3. The Death Ward is not going to be channeled, but where's the Warlock ultimate? There's number 1. Number 2 is coming up right away. Number 2 is down, and the Mikasa Faceless Void, he's going to get the second Chronosphere as well. This is going to be everyone from Invasion completely obliterated. The quad ultimates on the Faceless Void and Warlock being absolutely devastating. The Venomancer does go down as well as the Warlock, but who cares? They already did their job. This is going to be bottom lane taken for First Departure. They also get initiation onto OK. He will time walk his way out, or force staff his way out rather, but they're going to lose the bottom Rax Invasion. That was the worst possible fight they could possibly ask for.
They did not expect the double Refresher to be on that Courier, and it came at the perfect time. Chronosphere came out for Mikasa. They didn't have the backup then, but once the Courier delivered the Refresher for him, he just dropped another Chronosphere. Who cares? That's 17 seconds, or 14 seconds, I think. Where everybody's standing still. No, 12. Sorry about that, as they jump in again onto OK. OK's looking like he's going to fall. Lincoln's for a pop, but the BKB comes out for Mikasa. They throw the Doom up in the air as Yule's up. He is going to throw the Doom. I'm not sure where he actually threw that one. And now he's eating a Maledict. They don't have the damage, and Doom is onto Mikasa. He still has his Aegis. They're going to drop Kai first. Mikasa's going to lose his Aegis at the very least. He can probably time walk out of here. I don't know. Let's see where the familiar drop's going to be. They are going to pick themselves up a gem. Time walk going to be away from Mikasa. I think he's going to be out scot-free. They force step forward, blink. They're going to find the hoof stomp on Mikasa. Silence goes the way only of the center. Lincoln Sphere popped on Mikasa. They're going through the Viper Strike as well, but the Chronosphere catches everybody out. Where's the follow-up? There's no Witch Doctor, unfortunately, but they'll be able to get the Centaur. Now Ghost, not looking too healthy. Drops the Shiva as guards. Not going to clip onto Mikasa as he's able to time walk down towards the south. The puck might not be so lucky. Will he be able to jump to the sword? He slices up Ghost and now tries to get away here. The Viper Strike from super long range is going to land onto him. And Chaos, I think he's just dead. The hoof stomp is going to miss, and he should be able to jaunt away from this. He's avoiding a lot of this poison damage. Now he throws himself in the air. No way to blink out of this, however. Or is there actually that tick from the Scorched Earth? Not fast enough, and he's just going to be chased down. Jukes. He's going to jaunt towards the south. He's still alive. Doesn't get down to the low ground. Now the Viper Strike comes out. He's dead. Finally, a lot of time wasted by that puck, however. Well played by him. I think he could have made it out at certain points of that, but it's still okay.
That was so close. It looked like the orb was on the low ground, but in fact it wasn't. If he just waited for a split second more, then he would have been on the low ground, and then he would have been home free, which would have been a really nice escape from the puck. Ultimately, puck going down doesn't really matter. Like, Invasion are going to be happy with that, but the damage on the mid lane has been, the bottom lane rather, has been done, and now some really nice items that are going to come up. Mikasa with the Refresher Orb available, had enough mana to do that, because he is such a high level, is now going to go into some damage, which he hasn't had previously, but he's been more than capable to do the damage, and Warlock pretty much is maxed out at this point. He can go for Boots of Travel or something like that, but he's perfectly happy with where he is. Another Aghanim's Scepter for the first departure side. That's number 3 is going to be up from the Venomancer, so lots more magical damage coming out from him. First departure, once this puck comes back online, I think they should all go to the top lane and try to make a play happen there. Roshan is not going to be available for an unknown amount of time, so they can't necessarily go in for that, but they're still very happy with the farm they're getting, especially now Mikasa has a Mjolnir with a Refresher Orb. That's a lot of time. That's 12 seconds where the Faceless Void is going to just be doing whatever the hell he wants. They're going to catch Trinkets, though. The Doom, once again, onto the Warlock. The Chronosphere is there, and Warlock is slowly dropping. The Boot of Restoration is there. Won't save him, though. Death Ward being channeled will annihilate the Viper after the Doom, and he's going to back up. He should be just fine, although ADCR not the case. Okay, now, going to be slowed down. Going to be chased down by Lubby. Force that down to the low ground. Now the second Chronosphere onto the Viper. They'll kill him off, and they'll kill FZ as well. GG has been called. Double Chronosphere. I guess you don't need an Aghanim's for that. It's certainly a very useful tool. KS just now arriving to the fight, but the game's already over.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Warlock with double ulti with Aghanim's ever lose a game, and, well, this game's no exception. It's just too much fighting power coming out from them. They had their quad ultimates, and there's nothing they could do. Even if they got a good initiation to start off, even if they pick off the Warlock, then you're dealing with 12 seconds where you just can't do anything. So that said, that is only going to be game number 1. As first departure, take game 1 of the best of 2 series. We're heading into game 2 very shortly, so don't go anywhere. I've been Granite Fee, he has been Mike Loris, and see you soon for game 2.